Welcome back to the Know Your Power podcast. I am your host, Kendall Graboff, and Julia does not have her headphones on yet.
Guys, my brain's not working.
Yeah, I saw that, you looked scared.
I
You're
literally was like, I can't hear her in my ears. What's going on? And then I was like, oh, maybe because my headphones aren't in. But you know when your brain just works like three times slower than what's actually happening? I think the way you said that
sentence explains how you're feeling.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I am. We do these podcasts at 10 a.m. ish. Mm-hmm. And I used to my whole life be a morning person. I'd be up at 6, ready to go. I rolled out of bed at 9 and was like, I gotta get in the car and get to Julia's.
Yeah. I woke up and planned to wake up a lot later today because I didn't sleep well last night, and then I had the hardest leg day, not ever, but really hard one where it was the ones when you're like, I need go night. Right after I was like, I go night.
Did you try the German volume training?
I did.
Did you like it?
It was pretty crazy, but I only did it with a 45-pound plate on each side because I was like,
that's how I do it.
Yeah, and then I added a band. So I did it with a band. So try it. I've added it to my workout routine. I think it's on my glutes pump workout day, which we talked about in a previous training episode. But yeah, the pump was crazy. But also, I'm not the kind of person that gets crazy glute pumps. I don't know. Am I just setting myself up to not be a person?
I don't think so. I think you're so quad dominant that it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that's how I am with quads.
Yeah, they just blow up. And other girls, I feel like they just look at their glutes and then they just those, I tried to create a side-by-side of what my glutes look like before and after the volume training. And my glutes hurt and I felt it and it worked, but the side-by-side was so depressing that I was like, I ain't posting this because no one can see a difference.
I usually feel better before a leg pump. I don't know if it's because I look leaner, so I feel like it looks ratio-wise I have more muscle. When I have a leg pump, I feel like I just look soft. Does that make sense?
Yes, I totally get that. Yesterday, I had the biggest leg pump, and in the mirror, I was like, I have no lines.
No, yeah.
Because it's literally just blood covering your body.
That sounds so gross.
And
my SD card already ran out. Love that.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Boo. Right when we were like, guys, we're killing it. We haven't had any hiccups.
Yeah.
And then we have a hiccup.
It's okay.
It's whatever. But what are we talking about today, Kendi?
We are talking about imposter syndrome, which the definition loosely, because again, I hate reading, it's basically this feeling of anxiousness or the fact that you don't experience your success internally. You may be getting praise and success externally. You may be getting job promotions, Instagram followers, whatever that praise looks like for your career or lifestyle. But internally, you feel like, I don't deserve this. This isn't meant for me. Someone else deserves this spot better. That's essentially what imposter syndrome is. And I think when I brought it up with Julia, she was like, well, yeah, we experience that because we're in such a career where other people are essentially following us, and it is a very objective career. But do people working a 9-to-5 feel that? And in my experience, yes.
Because I had a completely different definition of what I thought imposter syndrome was. I literally, before we talked about it last week, I thought it was about one thing. And I thought it was about owning your own business. I don't know what I thought it was,
sense.
But now that I'm thinking about it, it literally does apply to every aspect of your life. Because the one thing that comes to mind is new moms. They probably don't feel like they're an actual mom when they have a child because they're not used to it. That's imposter syndrome. Even going into the gym. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to start working out and this and that. And then you go into the gym and you feel like an imposter because you're like, I'm a newbie. All these people know what they're doing. I didn't know that it can apply to so many different things.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't know. This is kind of a really niche topic, Kendall. And I was like, no, it's not. It's literally everything. Zach and I struggle with it so much. So, yeah.
I feel like I kind of wrote down this cycle that we go through. And it's basically... So hopefully you don't experience imposter syndrome. That would be great. I think that's what we all strive for is having that self-confidence that we walk into the room and we know we deserve to be there. But a lot of us don't have that yet or are working towards that. So basically the cycle is you have this new opportunity or task or job at hand. We tend to procrastinate it. because of that. Oh, I'm anxious. I don't want to start. I'm afraid of if I fail. And then eventually you get it done and you're like, oh, okay, I did it. I was capable of doing it. And then you're like, but did I do it good enough? Could I have done better? And that's that vicious cycle. And then you're back to the beginning of like, okay, let's try again. Oh, it's still not good enough.
Yeah.
So what I think at the end of the day, what it is just low confidence. And that doesn't mean low confidence within yourself, although it can be. I think it's just low confidence in what you're doing, because I think it just comes with experience. If you're a CEO and you have your first meeting with all your employees, you're definitely going to stand there and be like, oh shit, like, do I actually have what it takes to like be in charge of all these people?
All these people are listening to me speak.
Exactly. And then every week you have a team meeting and a team meeting, and like you're getting not only like the artificial like praise of it, but you're also getting actual proof of like, oh, like my company's doing well, this is working. And I think over time the imposter syndrome tends to fade because you're actually believing in yourself and believing you deserve all of it now.
Exactly. And it doesn't, and that's what crazy about it is that no matter how much like external validation that you get, it's almost like you don't hear it, you don't accept it, you don't actually think it's true, whatever the external validation might be. So really, when you look inward, it's the one thing that I like to say, it's almost always our fault. Like in any situation, it's our fault. And what I mean by that loose terms, it's like if somebody hits you or whatever, if I like just punched Kendall right here, it wouldn't be your fault. You know what I mean? Kendall's like, it's all my fault, but meaning
I would
like
blame myself.
There's circumstances. I put myself here. I am this person. Like, where can I take responsibility? It's just about taking like accountability, really.
I think it takes time too. And I think like creating the discussion, like hearing that you have imposter syndrome, for me, a huge one was hearing Ian, who like edits our videos and does all of your YouTube. Yeah. Hearing him tell me that he also had imposter syndrome, if not now at one point, made me feel so much better, because I also do photography, and it's such a subjective, like, well, I think my work is good, but I don't know. Like, I don't know how much to charge for this. Like, what if I ask someone to pay me $200 for 10 sets of photos and they laugh in my face because they're like, you're not that good. Like, that's my biggest fear.
I would be like, then you do it, bitch.
I feel like being in like an artistic field makes it so hard, because like, I may think someone's work is terrible if I'm like being honest, but
someone else might
love it. Exactly. So it's so weird in like those certain careers. And hearing it from my mom too, who's like this like hard head, like boss lady. The last interview she had, or like 2 promotions ago, which by the way, she's gotten a promotion every year. Like that's the type of lady my mom is. She's just a very like type A go-getter, like lives to work, doesn't work to live type of woman. And she told me, she was like, I was like going for an interview and I was nervous. So of course I call her and I ask for her advice. And she was like, oh, you just need to tell them like, well, when do I start? And I'm like, I don't have that confidence. Like, what do you mean? She's like, Kendall, like, I don't either, but you have to hype yourself up and you have to believe that you deserve that. And I was like, oh, wow. Like I thought my mom was so above imposter syndrome. I thought she never even dealt with like not thinking she deserved it. And even hearing it from her made it more human and made me be like, fake it till you make it. Like, I got this.
Yeah. And I mean, there is a huge part of literally faking it till you make it. And I think people get it like twisted, because it's like pretending that you're something that you're not, and people get like caught up in that, like, well, I'm not there yet, I don't actually feel that way about myself, you know, I don't actually have that money. That's why people get weirded out about like manifesting and literally just saying like, I did the thing, it's done, it's out in the universe, it's already happening, you know. The little trolls in the air are they're
trolls.
I don't know, God, whatever you believe, trolls. They're in the air. Little minions are doing their work and they're making it happen for you. Yes. So the reason that people struggle with that so much is that like they don't actually have that, and they don't actually feel that right in the moment. And we're like tangible beings where we're like, it's not here, I don't see, it can't be real. So that's why faking it till you make it is so difficult, but it really helps like propel you forward, because step by step you're like, oh, actually, like you start believing it. It's like, where else are you going to start? Like, if you don't start saying it to yourself when it's not true, when are you ever going to say it to yourself? Yeah. You'll never get to the point where you can actually say it to yourself because it won't come true.
Well, like, how are you going to convince other people to believe in you if you can't believe in yourself? Like, you've been a huge, I guess, like, idol for me in the fact of like manifesting and believing that you can do anything. Cause I watch you be like, I'm going to do this. And then you do it. And I'm like, oh shit, like that works. Like I need to start having that within myself. And like I have now, but it took so long. Like I used to write during my last prep, which was like almost 2 years ago now, which is crazy. I would write down affirmations every day. And I just had this conversation with one of my clients because I told her to start doing affirmations. And she was like, well, I'm not going to sit there and be like, I'm beautiful and perfect and skinny. And I'm like, those aren't the affirmations that ever worked for me. It might work for like someone listening, but like I then, like you said, felt like I was lying to myself. So it didn't work because I wasn't believing it. Yeah. But I started with like little things of like, I'm strong, I'm capable.
Yeah, it's more of like what are the qualities of the person that you want to be rather than like, I'm beautiful. Yeah. Like I'm the best. You know what I mean? It's like, well,
which you are, but yeah, it's hard to tell yourself
but it's almost like you look in the mirror and you're like, like it is kind of silly. And when you're writing it, it seems silly, but I love that distinction is like what it's more like, what would the person that I want to be or the person that I'm going to be rather say about herself? How would she feel? Like maybe confidence, strength, like
exactly.
I don't know, more independence. What are things people like? I don't know. I can't think of them.
I feel like we hit some of the good ones, but I think overall, all it takes to get over imposter syndrome, first off, it's never going to be completely away because if you continue propelling in life, like you're going to hit new times where you're like stepping into a new room now or a bigger room now or a bigger role. And you're like, well, now do I deserve this? So it's always going to kind of be there. I think it just comes with experience and working on confidence. Again, not always in like how you look or how you feel, but like more internal than that, like how much you deserve and what you're like capable of doing.
It's so true. And it's crazy that we are talking about this episode today because if you guys don't know, listening to this if like you're new, but Zach and I, my boyfriend, we had a podcast together called The Fit Couple Show. It's still up. We still have a ton of great episodes, but we just like moved into a new chapter and we're not doing that anymore. But I was listening back to literally like the second episode and it was in 2020 and we're in 2023 right now. And I'm listening to me speak on the microphone and I can tell that I'm just like letting Zach lead. I'm like, tell me what to do. Tell me what to say. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I can tell like in my voice that I'm like having anxiety because I know what it sounds like. And I was in there, I was like, yeah. And then, and then now you speak, you know? And it's just crazy because when I was filming those, I remember feeling like an imposter. I'm like, I can barely like collect my own thoughts like on a piece of paper, let alone like talking to another human, let alone into a microphone where people listen.
In front of a camera.
All of that. And that was before I was even on YouTube, but it was like baby steps to get to that point. Like, and then before the podcast with Zach, I didn't really do any of that at all. I would talk to people, but I had really, really bad social anxiety. And so going from being that person who never thought that she could be this person who's like really puts herself out there everywhere. Like, yeah, I felt imposter syndrome the whole time. And there's still times like right now, even though I do all of these seemingly like difficult things, they're difficult, but now it's like, oh, like I remember when I was absolutely terrified and I would have to like mentally prepare. Now I can just hop on a podcast and be like, yo, I'm talking to my friend.
Yeah.
Because there's less of the noise in my head that's telling me like what you're saying is stupid. You know, what you're thinking is dumb. Like, don't say that. Like, there's less of that in my head.
I had that too. We didn't ever air our first ever episode because something happened, thank God, to the file. Because I remember like fully having a panic attack.
Yeah.
Like I remember trying to talk. I was like stuttering. Then I was overthinking. And then just like you, I was like, I'm not bringing value to this. Like, Julia's not going to want to do a podcast with me. God, and like, look at us now.
Look at us now.
I'm like, I don't know. I still haven't started YouTube, but I really feel like I could now because it's so easy for me to talk in front of a camera now.
Doing
and like,
this
even
helped
then,
me do that.
Yeah. I used to like never address the camera, but now I'm like, hey, you guys.
It's always
how's it going at home?
Stiff head turn like, hey, camera.
But like, it's so weird because it really does feel like like I can almost visualize like the audience like sitting on the other side, and I'm like excited to talk to them instead of it used to be like, oh God, people are watching, people are going to hear this. Like I'm so scared. And yeah, it's crazy.
Which most of the time I feel like with imposter syndrome, we're just so stuck in our head. I mean, that's really what it boils down to is we're just stuck in our head about what we could be doing wrong. You know, maybe someone else deserves this more than I do. What I'm doing isn't that great, which actually just makes us not even appreciate what we have done. Like if we're going to relate it back to fitness, because, you know, this is a fitness and mindset podcast. When you go into the gym for the first time and you start your journey, you do feel like an imposter. Or maybe you're moving from being just a general like gym workout goer to being a bodybuilder. I've had some people that are transferring into being a bodybuilder and they feel like they're an imposter.
Which, can I say, even now, like I've been working out consistently for like 7 years, competing for multiple years. Like my whole identity on social media is fitness. And with like the health issues I've still sadly been dealing with, for those of you who have been following along, I like some of my workouts right now is I'll just go in and I'll try. And sometimes I don't have a good workout and I sit there and I have that feeling of like, what if someone in here like happens to follow me on Instagram and now they think I'm this like fraud because I can't even like squat at one plate right now. So I'm still experiencing, like, it doesn't really ever go away. Like I'm experiencing that imposter syndrome again because I'm like, well, damn, like I don't deserve my platform because my workouts aren't even good right now, which isn't true. Like I know it's just like a little blimp.
I'm not slaying every day, so I don't deserve to be on Instagram.
It's how it feels though.
It's so true.
But like, yeah.
And that's like another topic that I really want to talk about at least next week. I think like we should move some crap around because we already have stuff planned, but like just the grind mentality in general. But I kind of already talked about it in an episode, but kind of not really.
You're by yourself though.
Yeah,
I was my input.
I know. we'll talk about that. But yeah, I mean, and I love how you said that it kind of never goes away. Like, I know that there's a lot of people that you look up to. Maybe it's in the bodybuilding community. Maybe it's in personal development. Whoever it might be, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's someone like your boss, like someone that you're trying to be like eventually or have similar things that this person has. I guarantee you that person sometimes goes into work and it's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, none of us know what the fuck we're doing.
We're all just like these little beings trying to figure it out. Yeah. We're all really winging it.
We're all just kind of winging it, you know? And the people that sit there and say like, I got it all figured out.
You probably don't.
Yeah, you
or
probably don't.
I love you, the confidence.
or yeah, you got it all figured out, even though the universe can change and like that, you got it all figured out. I'm one of those people who really does think I have it all figured out.
Which is good. That's like a good trait to have.
Like I really am like, yeah, everything's going to go like this and then it's going to go like this and then like this. And it's not true because.
Well, that's like a popular, I think it like went viral on TikTok. It's like a popular mentality right now is to be like, I'm the lucky girl and everything works out for me. Like, have you seen those?
No.
Oh, that's like a saying that people like, girls are promoting saying it to yourself because then it comes true. And it's kind of that same like mentality of like, if you just believe in yourself, it's going to work out.
That's true.
So it's like I'm a lucky girl and nothing bad can happen to me.
I don't know why that creeps me out though.
Why?
I don't know why. Like to me, that's like, it seems like kind of toxic, but like I get where it's going.
It's coming from a good place.
I don't know. It's like, it is coming from a good place, but it gives me the creeps.
I get it.
I
don't say it.
I'm a lucky girl. I'm a lucky boy. Maybe because it just sounds like it's one of those cheesy things where it's like
cheesy. Yeah,
I think that's more of what it is, where it sounds cheesy, but it's like, yeah, like what you put out into existence is going to come back to you. People think that they can get away with things for so long without having that belief factor. There's literally only so far that you can work your way, push your way, and like bulldoze your way through things to get to your goals.
Yeah.
If the belief aspect is there, you might get there. You might get there, but you'll never believe that you actually deserve it. It'll never be enough. Yeah. And there's two components that come. There's the belief aspect of like, I deserve to be here just as much as everybody else. And then there's the like work and effort and like actual things that you have to do. And I realized for me, at least going into this competition season and going after Miss to be on the stage with all those other Olympians is that I have the factor of like the work and all of this, like all of that. And I really do believe that I could do it. But I think there's a difference. I have this belief that I can do it, but then there's this other aspect that's like, wait, are you worthy of being there? And I'm doing these
Yes, you are.
And I'm doing these hand motions because it's like that worthiness aspect comes into being like feeling like an imposter.
Yeah.
Whether it's at the gym, whether it's with your family or with relationships, like whatever it might be, there's that worthiness that you deserve that kind of relationship. Mm-hmm. You deserve to have that kind of money. You're worthy of finding love, you know, whatever it is. But yeah, I think it comes down to something like that.
I think it's like more simple than it seems to be. I think it is just experience, believing in yourself, reminding yourself you are worthy of being there. You wouldn't be there. So
yeah. And I know that for me, it's a little fart sound. For me, it's like let's take social media, for example, because that's honestly the world that we live in. There are so many people on social media that feel this way about themselves, but they don't actually say anything. Like I know that there is.
The feeling of imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I know that there's like people that are at the highest.
I hope so. I feel that way, and I'm not even like huge.
Like, I freaking hope so. I freaking hope that someone else went this way. But yeah, I just wish that maybe some more people that have that kind of, let's say, influence would tell people that.
Yeah.
Because weirdly enough, when you get down to the root of it, it connects people to you even more. Mm-hmm. Because if like, say, like one of my favorite people is like Mel Robbins, and Mel Robbins, like she'll tell you like all these things that she went through. And because she does that, I actually believe that I can be a Mel Robbins. You know what I mean? Because
she humanizes it.
Yeah, when someone humanizes themselves, I actually have the belief now that I can do whatever that person does. Mm-hmm. And it's more difficult when you see that person as being like, oh, they're perfect.
I wonder if like...
nothing's wrong with them. How can I measure up to perfect?
Yeah.
You know?
I wonder if like A-list celebrities deal with that.
They do.
Like I cannot imagine being a movie star and being like, I deserve to be here. Like what? I cannot imagine being on like a Grammy stage and like not even winning, just like walking a carpet. Like I cannot imagine my life like that. Like I would definitely sit there and be like, why? Like how? But I guess that comes down to like they worked for that spot.
Did y'all invite me as a joke?
No,
is this a joke?
I know like some like TikTokers and YouTubers are like going to those now, and I'm like, even them, like I couldn't imagine being like making little dancing TikToks in my room, and now you're like presenting a Grammy to someone. Like that's insane. Not saying again, like they deserve it because they worked for it and like people enjoy their content, but it's still like putting myself in their shoes. I know how I would feel.
Exactly, because you still think of yourself as, I don't know, like you think of yourself as that little person. Like you're just a little person.
I do.
You're like,
one day I'll grow up.
One day I'll be a big girl. I'm the luckiest girl. I hate it. I hate it so much.
I'm so sorry for ever bringing that into your life.
I'm the luckiest girl alive. I don't know. I think it's just for me, it might be that I want something like more powerful.
Yeah.
Than like
lucky is very like dainty and like yeah.
I think it might be just my personality. I think it's your personality.
I don't think I would ever say lucky, but I do like the everything works out for me, because that's something like I have such like a lot of my anxiety comes from like that impending doom feeling of like something bad is gonna happen, the good things in my life are gonna end. No, I'm like so serious. Like it's constant. True. It's so bad.
And you create it happening without you knowing it. Well, you know it, but
I try to avoid it, but then I think about it more, and then obviously the thoughts are like spiraling there. So working on the everything works out is something I'm working on implementing into my mentality. But
I think one that I want to adopt, at least right now, is that anything that is meant for me, the universe is working out for me.
Yes.
Something along the lines of that. Yeah, like the little.
That's what I said, but far more sophisticated.
No, the minions in the sky.
The little trolls.
The minions in the sky they're just putting my life together the way that it's meant to be, not the way that I think it should be.
Yes.
Amen. In Jesus' name, amen.
And on that note, I feel like that's everything to cover. I think just making it more normalized. talk about imposter syndrome. Maybe not with your boss. They might fire you. No, I'm kidding. But like
if they do, they shit.
Among your peers, I feel like it's totally normal to bring up. Like, again, like talking to Ian, who's a photographer I look up to, like, or well, more so a videographer, but hearing that like it took him a while to start valuing his content the way he does made me realize like, okay, I can start valuing my content. Like it's just nice to hear it from people you look up to, I think.
Really? Like, just ask anybody around you, like, do you ever feel like you don't know what the fuck you're doing? Yeah. And they'll be like, thank God, yes! I don't know what I'm doing to you. No, we're just in a simulation.
Yeah, no, literally. All the time I think about
literally. That. So
we're both just stretching.
Look, okay. it's there's an aspect of really just faking it until you make it. We're all gonna be newbies at something at some point. And whatever it is that you're feeling like you're an imposter about, that you don't feel like you truly belong there, you might not feel it for a little bit, but if you keep using the same verbiage over and over that keeps humoring that you don't belong there, you're right, you don't, then it's going to continue to be that way. So you have to really change the verbiage just going on in your head, because we want to grow. We want to get better. We don't want to stay feeling that way about ourselves, because you are worthy of all the things that you want in this life. You just have to believe that you are. And if you don't, they're really hard to get.
Yeah. It's really easy to stay in like a small comfort zone if you don't believe you are worthy of what comes after that comfort zone. So
it's very true. And what you'll see in life, what I've noticed is every time you try to like level up in life, there's new hurdles that come. Yeah. Like right now, I'm going through one right now where I'm trying to like level up. I'm starting to pay my employees more. The way that I'm approaching my business is just, it's very different. And what you'll see is when you try to level up from like that person that you used to be, I always like to think of it as you're like a little hermit crab that's like shedding your little tiny shell and you have to go into a bigger one. And there's roadblocks that go with that. It's like, okay, you have this new level of like expectation for yourself, and maybe you have more responsibilities, and maybe there's more eyes on you or whatever it might be. And that's a breaking point that you need to get through. You're either going to fall back into that same pattern that you don't want to be at anymore, or you're going to break through that ceiling.
It's a good sound. I believe in everyone listening to this. So start believing in yourself. Okay.
And Nazo, okay. We're going to end this and be like, you listen
Get it through your little freaking brain.
Get it through your little pure brain. At the end of every episode.
I honestly need that every day, so I'm probably going to listen to that back.
I know. Every day I need someone to be like, listen here, you little bitch. This is how I speak to myself.
That's how I talk to myself,
Yeah,
too.
Literally. I'm like, listen here, you little bitch. You're amazing. You fucking do that set. That's how I talk to myself.
In the gym, yeah. I'm actually really mean to myself, but like in a motivational way.
It helps me. It's not like, it doesn't hurt my feelings, but other people are different. So anyways, we love you guys. And as always, you are more powerful than you think.
Bye.
Bye.